Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain, and I am your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 76 of our trek, and yesterday we discovered the true meaning of encouragement. Today we will look at how that ties into the fact that we will not pass this way again in our lives, and we have to make each day of life count. We are recording our podcast from our studios at Home 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina. And as I reflect on life, regardless of our individual situations, we have so much to be thankful for. At best, we will only have 100 years or so to impact our world. The impact that we have on others and the generations to follow is what will live on to eternity. We need to make each day count, and I struggle with this as much as anyone, maybe more than most. There are always deadlines to meet, bills to pay, people to deal with. But let's not confuse the urgent with the important, because they are rarely the same. Although I don't get outdoors nearly as much as I would like, the analogy of life being a hiking trek is so important and fitting. We slowly go through life one day at a time. This morning was a reminder of how much life is like hiking or trekking through difficult mountainous terrain. During my regular exercise routine each morning, I usually spend an hour running on our treadmill. Since both Paula and I use this treadmill nearly every day, a couple years ago we invested in a treadmill that is connected to the internet and has walking, running, and hiking trails from all over the world through the use of Google Maps. The technology is really neat, and although I usually choose running courses, this morning I chose 2 hiking trails. The first one was the Sierra Trail in California, which is about 2 miles long, and the second was the Deer Mountain Trail in Colorado, which is about 2.5 miles long. I have to tell you that they were uphill during most of both trails, and while I usually jog or run, this morning it was only a fast walk at 4 miles an hour. With the difficulties of these trails, it was certainly a stark reminder that some days life is an uphill climb and can be very painful for the moment. But if we keep at it, we will reach our destination eventually. Sometimes it takes being infused with a little more courage to make it through. As we think about infusing courage into our lives and the lives of others, as I mentioned yesterday, on our analogy, it was similar to what happens when a person receives a blood transfusion. The person receives life-altering experiences that will help them to be fully alive. What we say to others and how we treat others each day is either infusing them with life or death. This also applies to what we speak into ourselves and how we treat ourselves. Are you living daily or dying daily? Each day is a new day. We will never again have a chance at today with its unique situations or circumstances. Although some seasons of life feel like we are on a proverbial treadmill or reliving the same day over and over like the movie Groundhog Day. But that's not really the case. We only have one chance to get today correct. As was written by William Penn, he said, "I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again." Our words alone can have a significant impact on the lives of others, either for good or for evil. The old rhyme that sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me is just not true. As we looked at yesterday, words have the power of life and death. All of us have the problem when it comes to controlling our tongue. We all suffer from diarrhea of the mouth or the foot and mouth diseases. But James, the half-brother of Jesus, wrote in his letter, chapter 3, verse 2, "Indeed, we all make mistakes, for if we could control our tongues, we would be perfect and could also control ourselves in every other way." Well, it's suffice to say, controlling how we speak to others is a problem for all of us. We will look at the entire passage of James 3 on another day, for it gives a clear description about controlling our tongue. I want to share one simple personal example of how words impacted me, and it was when I was in my early teen years. As I was going through puberty, my nose outgrew my small and slight frame significantly. Within my family, I was called the Nose, or Noses, which is a play on the Bible character Moses. Thankfully, I eventually grew into my nose, well, for the most part, but for my size, it still is a bit large. Fortunately, as an adult, I realized that physical features is not what makes a person significant. Even now, though, I am a little self-conscious about it, and that was over 40 years ago now. I know that this example is trivial compared to what most have to deal with trying to navigate the harsh words of others. But the point is to understand and show how powerful and lasting our words can be. A careless word can shape or misshape somebody's reality for years to come. We need to take to heart and put into practice the advice that Paul wrote in his letter to the church at Ephesus in chapter 4, verse 29. And he wrote, "Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them." This verse provides 3 keys to appropriate speaking. Number 1 is never use foul or abusive language. Our language is so rich and full that we should never need to use words that are foul or abusive when communicating with others. Foul or abusive language is negative, not positive, and we should always avoid it. Number 2, everything that we say should be good and helpful. In other words, every word that we speak to others should be both good and also helpful to that person. Even if the words are for correction or discipline, the objective is to help the person that we are speaking to. And number 3, all words should infuse courage into others or encourage them. Every word should be an encouragement to the person being spoken to. Even if we have to help others dealing with negative habits or uncomfortable confrontations, it should be handled in such a manner that our words infuse into the other person the courage they need to make the changes. King Solomon said it this way in Proverbs 18:21, "The tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap its consequences." Every day we are shaping the reality of someone by the words that we use with them. The choice is ours. How will our words impact others? And I would love your feedback or comments on this question that I'm about to ask. How have the words of another, positive or negative, impacted your life? And if you would share your comments on the journal page for today's podcast, I surely would appreciate it. Well, that'll finish our podcast for today. If you've missed any of our previous episodes, please check out Wisdom Trek at iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, YouTube, or on wisdom-trek.com. Tomorrow we will continue looking at ways that we can positively impact others through kindness as we realize that we need to, let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. So please join us at our camp tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. If you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom, I encourage each of you to take the time to invest in yourself in the following 3 ways. First, invest your time in improving Wisdom Trek by leaving your name, email address, and comment on our website so that we can provide the wisdom and insight that best fits your needs. Number 2, invest in yourself by listening to your 7 minutes of wisdom through Wisdom Trek each day. The easiest way to do this is to subscribe at iTunes or Stitcher so that it is downloaded to you automatically each day. And 3, invest in the lives of others by sharing with your family and friends, either in person or online, to journey with us on our Wisdom Trek. And if you haven't done so already, please go to iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a rating. This will allow the Wisdom Trek podcast to be exposed to others so they can join us on our trek. The journal for today's podcast can be found at wisdom-trek.com, where we have pictures, tweetable quotes, wisdom nuggets, and free resources. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, your friend, as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take the time to trek together, let us always live abundantly or fully, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.